We're live.
Live? What are we live on?
Live on the YouTubes, and I'm going to try to share it everywhere. I think maybe one of our better options for right now. Live on my YouTube, just for this. This will probably be the last one that is live on my YouTube, but it's for reasons and such. Not that I don't want it there. I just...
Right. Well, I mean, you're going for a certain...
Well, I just want to start building our little bit of an audience. You on 2 or 3? You're on 3.
Test.
What is that? Something is negative bueno. Found it. So we're going to have to do some turning down. Just so we don't... Because that one that I did, the one me and you did, just by ourselves. But we also had the mics like right beside each other. I need to get logged into shit, start sharing shit and shit. Shit. Beautiful.
You're welcome.
Once we get everything shared around, we will actually start talking about something.
So you're going on YouTube and then sharing it to
Facebook and all
like
that.
your Facebook.
Yeah. Once we get a webcam, I'll be able to do, hopefully with a little bit of engineering, I'll be able to do like one camera, do like 5 different, like on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram, whatever
Right.
has the things. Shine out of that one. And sign into share. You've been logged out of Google Apps for education session. How about a big old fuck you? I know this is super boring for the one person that's already watching on YouTube, but we will one of these days have this shit figured out where we can just hit a button and go. Go. Turn that down, use her. Probably have to turn it down more here now. So I've got it shared to my Facebook page. I need to put it on the, this old ass phone. I don't have everything linked yet. Have you found it on the Facebook page? Or YouTube?
You talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh fuck, I haven't even been.
Or are you just texting people?
I'm just trying to put a just a little
Feeler out there?
yeah, just social media post. Just working on getting my hashtag game tight, since I've recently been schooled on that, so to speak, somewhat.
I mean, that's, especially when you have 3 followers, the hashtag is fairly important.
Okay. Got you tagged in there, got podcasting hashtag, got Tito's hashtag, got my hashtag, hashtag my hashtag. Okay, I'm gonna put this fucker down for now, unless I need to, weirdly Google something, because we're talking about some new kind of butt plug or cock ring or something like that.
That kind of shit happens.
It does. So this is going to be a More for Less podcast again, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So welcome back. We'll edit all that shit out. Welcome back for another installment of the More for Less podcast. Once again, Jake from Evolving Daily is here and helping me out a little bit, putting in his 2 cents for everybody that wants to hear it. I know I do. Pretty jacked about it. And we'll get things kicked off.
Making your own intro music?
Yeah, there. I mean, yeah, why not?
I don't hate it.
Exactly.
Threw me for a loop.
So initially starting off, I noticed that it is the evening time on a Saturday, whatever day you're listening to this, and you are drinkless.
Yeah. I meant to get something to just lightly sip on, but I didn't.
Right.
I did well on my diet this week, I think.
Okay.
And everything seemed to go fine, and I'm not counting my calories, but I'm keeping track of shit, so.
Right.
Everything seemed okay. Still waking up less fatter than the day before, so I guess that's kind of working. But, yeah. I was going to get me a little drink. And we'll get into that here in a little bit. Tonight, I'm probably going to drink. Like, I haven't drank in 2 weeks.
Oh.
Dude, we didn't have any. I didn't have any last time we podcasted.
I mean, you were drinking beer at least.
Here? In this house?
Pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure I had White Monster. And then water.
You drank straight White Monster.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That was only a week ago. That's what drinking gets you, folks.
And then the week before that was right before the diet kicked off.
I got you.
Like that was the night before I decided to be less of a fat fuck.
I got you.
Yeah.
Now see,
So,
I'm not refraining from the drinking of my normal drinking. I have changed up what I'm drinking. I'm not drinking as much, which is a good thing. And I'm drinking mainly, I mean, I will throw in some brown liquor in there, but I'm mainly drinking the vodka with the sparkling either Perrier or La Croix.
guess what I did?
What?
Not hit the record button.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So that was a
It's
good
gotta
test
happen.
run. Now we got all the jitters out of the way. And
It's gotta happen.
When I edit this will probably be the beginning of it. Just showing that, hey, I'm a fucking retard.
That's yeah.
So guys, we are back for another podcast. Matt, tell them about it. And Instagram's on it because you didn't do that. During the first intro that we tried. Like what all of our shit is.
Oh, yeah. So we're back for another installment of the More for Less podcast. Again, I have Jake is here also. I'm actually at Jake's place and evolving daily. So we're back for another installment of the More for Less podcast. And I just put out a little feeler on Instagram because we're recording live. So yeah, anybody that's available right now and can click in and watch the ignorance, that's great. If not, catch it later on basically wherever you can grab podcasts, Google Play, iTunes, the iPodcast app, Stitcher. Yeah, it's all available there. I know we've talked about our social media before, More for Less Podcast or More for Less Cast. Pretty much all over the board. You'll find it some way, shape, or another. It's got our picture on at least one of them. So you can find it there. We're posting all the time, you and I. It's
Trying to. It seems like I'm trying to have a constant stream, at least something a day.
Yeah.
I don't do that. I never do. Like I don't do it with my channel because I forget or I'm lazy or for whatever reason. But the big thing is, so the two of us, you would think, well, yeah, something gets out every day. No, what happens is, like, Wednesday, there will be 6 tweets or Instagram posts by me and you. Me doing some, you doing some, and then nothing for 2 or 3 days, and then another 6 in one day.
It's kind of like hitting the same schedule or the same cycle, we'll call it.
Shit happens.
Whenever I think about doing it, and I don't want to take a picture of fucking my black sweatpants that I'm wearing today or something like that and post it out there. I want to have a little bit of meaning or content or something I think is cool about it. So like the other day I put out the hard-boiled eggs for breakfast or 10 or 11 a.m., whatever meal you want to call it. And that was, my 13th, 14th day in a row of eating something like that. I found that to be funny, so I put a post out that said, hey, this is so many days in a row of hard-boiled eggs for breakfast, and I have recently been contracted to be the flavor adder to natural gas companies. If anybody's done anything like that for consecutive days, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Fuck yeah.
And there is pure death rolling out of you. So I try to just do things like that when it's, you know, if I'm cooking something or if I've bought a new liquor or I'm just mixing up a drink because it's Friday night, hell yeah, I'm going to take a picture of that and post it out there. And it doesn't happen every day because, I mean, I'm just not hugely exciting. I bowl and I go to work this time of year, so that's, yay!
I mean, that's like whenever I go to, like, why would anyone find this interesting or exciting or whatever? But that's the same kind of shit that I like to see when other, like, people that I follow or whatever, whenever they post up just something stupid and mundane, and be like, oh, that's the kind of shit he's into. So
Exactly.
that's why, but the problem is I never think to post like, oh, I should take a picture of this and put it on Instagram, because that's just something stupid that I don't think about every day, but
Yeah.
some people may find it interesting.
It's only when it clicks in my mind of like, ooh, I should do this. And I really try not to do anything at work when I'm at my job. You know, not that I'm not thinking about this and shit to talk about, but that is my job and this is for fun on the side. But yeah, if I'm cooking something or mixing up a drink or something like that on a Friday or Saturday, I'm going to take a picture and post it. It's just not going to be every day. Which also, while we're on this social media topic, I feel that we should address at least an Instagram issue.
What's that?
Well, like you just said, there might not be anything every day, but then one day there'll be 6 because I've got shit going on, you've got shit going on, and we'll both post pictures.
We should tag who is posting it, or have a way of...
Not even tag who's posting it.
I mean a signature of who this was. Because
okay.
if someone's like following our Instagram for whatever fucking reason, but maybe they're thinking about dieting, because we did one podcast pretty much just about diets. Right. But if they think, well, yeah, he was eating that, so that must be on keto. No. That was one of your things. And then things that I post is definitely not on your diet.
Right.
Right. So for that reason, I think any food stuff, we should be like, in the comments, be like, this is not Matt's food.
I mean, you could put something like ED for.
That was Ed's.
Yeah, it was erectile dysfunctionals post. EDC, Evolving Daily Channel.
EDC is a whole thing in and of itself.
Is it really?
Yeah, everyday carry.
See, I don't know that.
Like what knife and what Leatherman and all that shit.
Still kind of fit you, but I see where that would not be something to start up.
Anyway, we'll figure that. That's inside baseball.
Yes.
What was your point?
My point was, there's different times where, and I don't believe I've been guilty of it yet, it'll just look like, hey, whoever's running More for Less Twitter and Instagram and anything else, whoever's running that is one conceited son of a bitch. Because I don't think I've been guilty of it yet, because I clearly know when I don't post a picture or something.
I've got 3 different accounts, so I know where this is going.
There's been a lot of times where I will post something, and I'm strictly just going to Instagram, and then set up to do like my Twitter, like I think my personal Twitter and my personal Facebook, because it won't link up to the podcast page. Yeah. So it's on me. My name's on both, but so I'm doing it from Instagram, swipe, Twitter, Facebook, sending out to 3 different sources. And then I'll get back on later in the day and I'll see where More for Less Podcast on Instagram liked More for Less Podcast's picture on Instagram.
So the reason why it happens more with me, or I think I'm the only one probably doing, is I have 3 different Instagrams. Like one for me, one for my channel, and now one for More for Less Podcast. So like one for my YouTube channel and shit.
Right.
So I don't know which one I'm logged into. I think I'm logged into one of the other two, but I'm in yours, ours, whatever, and I just like, yeah, there's a picture, double click it, and
Yeah.
yeah. So it shows up as More for Less Podcast, like More for Less Podcast picture, and those motherfuckers need some therapies.
And technically, I don't know if producer's not here tonight, so nobody's keeping us in line or on track, so we're gonna get fucking weird. But technically, there's 3 of us that have access
Yes.
to the Instagram account or the Twitter. I don't even know if there is a Twitter. I have no idea. Definitely, there's an Instagram. There's 3 of us that have access, and I just felt it was something that should be addressed.
Yeah.
Because we are all not, or there's not one of us that's the most conceited, narcissistic person ever in the history of life liking their own photos. It's just a mistake from time to time when one of the other 2 post a picture, a third one will get on and be like, oh, cool, look at that. Like, because we're buddies and we're trying to support each other and
I'm not in the picture, so I'm like, yeah, I like that because my friend did it and it's something but yeah.
And you clearly know it wasn't something you posted.
Yeah.
Oops, you happen to be on the same account, and I kept getting a reminder from a certain somebody, hey, you realize you liked your own photo, and it took about 3 times, and I went, I didn't like that photo. I didn't post that photo, but it said More for Less. Oh, yeah, all 3 of us.
Yeah.
Shit. So that was just something quick I wanted to.
It happens.
Wanted to address. So we've been going now for 20, technically 10 minutes, give or take. And I noticed you might have pushed the buttons too fast, and you didn't start off. You don't have a beverage.
Yeah, I will be getting one shortly though.
Okay.
That and supposedly, allegedly, according to some dude on the internet, so I mean it's fact, that the diet that I'm on can affect your alcohol tolerance. Which anything, I mean, if you're eating whatever or just not drinking regularly, it's going to affect your tolerance. But so I'm going to try to wade into the water this evening. It's not going to be the normal, let's see how fast we can get this thing sideways kind of thing, which is the normal for me. Now I would say it's probably half the time when we drink sitting down for the purpose of drinking. About half the time I run into it pretty hard.
Well, yeah. If that's not an everyday running into it hard thing.
No,
like whatever, it's no big deal.
Once a week or it's either this coming Saturday or the Saturday after that. Like that's all. I might have a beer during the week, but that's about it.
Right. And even though, like you said, your intake and we're both on diets and trying to change, what we're inputting to be a little healthier and feel a little better. You go from burgers and pizza and French fries and tater chips, you're probably going to be able to drink more, but it's also going to affect you differently.
Yeah, you're going to get fucked up a whole
lot. Yeah. But it was just something I noticed because, I mean, we're recording on Saturday night and it's fucking Saturday night.
It's Saturday at before 6 o'clock p.m., which for us normally is like, well, whenever he gets here, if it's noon or if it's 11 o'clock in the evening. Just depends on how fast you're going to get this thing going, usually.
Exactly. I've already got it going. Nothing special tonight. Again, watching my intake, so to speak. I'm having Tito's vodka, shout out, with LaCroix, however you want to pronounce it. Just a fizzy, bubbly water with no sweetener, no sodium, however they get it to be fizzy, bubbly. God damn it, there was something I wanted to look up and I forgot. And a little squoge of lime in there just to kick off the lime fizzy, bubbly water that I have. And I find that I can drink a few of these and feel pretty good. And I don't hurt in the morning because I'm still drinking like a mineral type water with no salt and sugar added to it. Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's great.
especially if you're going to drink a bunch, like if your goal for the evening is to get some drinking accomplished, I think anybody would benefit from cleaning up their alcohol. Like buying the little bit more expensive bottle, usually is a little bit cleaner, and mixing with a less sugar infused mixer.
There's a lot of famous people anyway that their big thing is soda water. And now when you get into the seltzer water and stuff like that, like they do have some sodium, nothing crazy. And if you're drinking plenty of water throughout the day anyway, sodium's not really fucking hurting you in any way, shape, or form. I don't believe so anyway. But that's a big thing with show business folk is splash of soda water, splash of mineral, fizzy bubbly water like I'm drinking now. It's just a big thing that they do that I hear about anyway of the people I follow. That's kind of their go-to, whatever their liquor is. You've heard of whiskey with a splash of, just cut down a little bit with some water, whether it's fizzy bubbly or not. You don't need to mix it with Coke. Yes, it's fucking delicious because it's Coke. You just don't need it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's especially, and the better, at least in my experience, the better the alcohol you buy, the less mixer you need to make it tasty.
For sure.
Yeah.
And also, depending on how much you drink of it, the less shitty you're going to feel later in the middle of the night or / tomorrow morning or all day the next day. And it's kind of surprising because the Tito's, it will shock you on its price because it is right in that line with like Sky and Absolute, and I think Svedka might be a little bit lower than that. I'm just trying to think of the big name brands. Smirnoff, fuck that shit. Tito's is in that. I mean, a hog leg, a 175 liter is going to cost you 36 and change at most places. A lot of times you can get it for 35-ish. And it's right up there with Goose as far as taste.
I'd put it above Goose, but
put it above it.
I would.
I mean, Goose, you're going to, if you buy that bottle in Goose, you're paying $55-$60. Kettle One, Stoli, or Stoli, Stolichkovich,
The one that starts with an S.
yes. I've tried all of them, and I'm telling you right now, that's my absolute favorite. Made in America, and $36, $37 for I call it a hog leg. Can't beat it.
Yeah.
Fucking sore wiener. All right, so we've got introductions, and we've got social media shit, and you're drinking, I'm drinking, you're not.
So what was your day?
My day
today? Because I have a feeling that's what this podcast is 90% going to be about.
Has to be.
The other 10% was what we just talked about. It's basically our 2 days.
Yeah, it absolutely has to be. And you might think to yourself, like, it's a Saturday, very warm for this time of year.
In bumfuck Worth County.
Bumfuck, middle of nowhere. I didn't get a chance to play any golf. I don't look ahead. If I'm going to play golf or something like that, I'm going, no matter what the forecast. So I just don't fucking look. Now, this time of year, it would be beneficial. Is it warm or not? Happened to get up to like 60 today. I've been outside, getting in and out of the car, we'll call it like 5 times. And that started at about 4:30
I've been,
p.m.
and see, that's how polar opposite. You've been outside, including going to and from the car, 5 times. I've maybe been inside 5 times. And some of that was like running the house and get a drill, or like go in and eat real quick and then back at it.
Right.
But there's nothing good or bad about either one. It's
just how it worked out.
Pretty polar opposite.
It's January, so in my mind, it's going to be cold as fuck. I'm off today, off work, off everything, have nothing to do, no travel, no nothing. I'm going to do what I want to do. And it just so happened that my significant other was going to see a friend today. So she left pretty early. I was up with her at 6:30 in the morning, which is not out of the normal for me on a weekend. I like to wake up early and get my Xbox in because I'm a 32-year-old child. So I was up with her, made some coffee, and fired up the Xbox. Before 7, I'm jacked in with these headphones on and just going away. Clicking, double clicking, I'm joysticking, the whole 9. And minus getting up to go pee. Oh man, I took the most glorious shit I've taken since I started this diet today. That's my highlight.
That has to be impressive because you've been eating a lot of green, fibrous vegetables.
Well, my body went through a transition where it turned to water for like a day, and then it turned to virtually nothing. So we'll call it like a slightly less pasty than peanut butter, but the color of spinach or broccoli, which that's what I was eating. I never ate canned like cooked spinach. It was the leafy like baby spinach leaves. Nevertheless, dark green. And so after the water period, I hit a peanut butter pasty kind of period. And not a lot for a few days. And then all of a sudden, water, like 3 in the afternoon. For the record, I don't shit in the afternoon. It's an emergency. I shit in the morning right directly before I shower.
Which I have always been opposed to, you and your morning routine. Because if I were a government employee, I would spend an hour a day on the can, whether I was shitting or not, just so I could get paid for it by the federal government to do nothing.
There was a point in time with a different job that I was able to do that. And coming from being like a teenager and a guy, just a random guy being like, if you can't make $20,000 a year on the shitter, you ain't doing something right. And I kind of took that to heart. Still did my job, I didn't slack or anything, but I'd spend 20 plus minutes a day on the shitter. For one thing, I was in that routine and I had to shit. So I shit. And didn't take an excess amount of time. But then I slowly turned into a different job. Just too much demand, too busy, too much work, and it was, it's got to be after or before work, and it's always, in my opinion, got to be before a shower. There's no point, unless it's an emergency, in dropping deuce middle of the day. You got to drop deuce, and yes, I wipe my ass to completion every time.
With government shit tickets.
If I'm at work, yeah.
I'm guessing the debt is just the same bark-filled teepee that they put in every other government facility.
See, the weird thing about it is, you're exactly correct. And all of that toilet paper, which I've had a few different brands, or experienced a few different brands, it all seems to be a mix of splinters and pine cones somehow schmelded in with wax paper.
Yeah. Like, it somehow wipes you enough to make you bleed, but at the same time does not remove anything.
I was trying to...
Like, it's better than fucking Teflon, because ain't nothing sticking to it.
Yeah, if you could get a few layers of it, it would probably be a pretty good sort of flak jacket.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I was trying to stay away from the bleeding part, but, if you mix that, especially with one of them kind of pasty that you may not even hear it hit the toilet.
It's like an Olympic diver. It doesn't make a splash, but it's not because it went in so clean. It's because it's still attached.
It's attached.
You're growing a tail. You're not taking a shit.
You're just fucking digging and digging and digging. And I don't know about you, I'm a checker. I'm not going to like give it 3 swipes and I'm done. I'm looking. I gotta know if it's blood, it's blood. If it's shit, I'm still going for it. You know what I mean? I'm not, I don't want to ruin my underpants. I don't want shit running down my legs. I don't want to ruin my pants. I don't want to smell bad throughout the day if I do have to visit the facilities. That's just me. I'm a checker, and I'm going to be clean. Not even a hint. There's been times where I've looked at it and really had to examine, because I'm like, is that faint streaks of blood, or is that like really faint brown?
So I'm like, to most people, I'd be considered a weird guy because I carry things for, like, I carry medical supplies and I carry a fucking gun and I have little backpacks for this and that, but I just like hate forgetting shit for the most part. That's why I have different backpacks and little bags and shit. In almost every single bag that I ever make, like if tomorrow I'm making a bag for if my car breaks down or if I decide to go hiking through the woods, probably like item number, it's in the top 5, is the travel size kits of the flushable wipes. I don't care if they're flushable, but something moist.
Moist, yeah.
That way, if it is an emergency shit, and there I've got something clean and refreshing to get after it with, rather than some roadside truck stop, John Wayne shit that you got to build a nest in your hand. And then I'm trying to figure out a way to pack ass gaskets, like fold them up. So an ass gasket is the little thing on the side of the stall that you put down on top of the seat so you don't have to build a nest.
I think most folks that would happen upon us would probably know what it's worth explaining.
Yeah.
Could you not? Because when they have those in bathrooms and they're in like the plastic or metal protector, all they do is take the whole box and slide them into that holder. Mm-hmm. And then you pull them out of there.
But here's the I've thought about like trying to fold it up, and trying to bring it home and then fold it up neatly. But the thing is, if you do anything more than take it out of that hanger, turn around and lay it down, it goes to shreds.
Yeah.
It just fucking disintegrates.
Also true. Because those are flushable, right? I flush
They
them.
are when I'm there. I don't care if they're made out of like non-recycled, non-responsibly sourced plastic. That thing's going down the toilet. It's just the way it is.
I agree. I flush them too.
And if I'm using one of those, it's not like, oh, I could use the restroom. No. I'm holding my stomach. My knees are locked. I'm sprinting. I've got stress sweat going. And it's all I can do to set that thing down first. It's not like... So it's not going to be this super smooth, normal transaction. There's going to be some serious paperwork done. So That thing doesn't need to go anywhere other than down into the depths of hell, which is where I'm hoping that toilet takes it.
Right. So we got a little sidetracked with the wipe engine and shit like that. My day, I woke up pretty early, haven't eaten much, drank plenty of water. I played Xbox for a couple of hours. I watched a newish movie anyway, award-winning movie. I watched Get Out today.
I've kind of wanted to watch it, but I've also kind of not.
Well, I'll tell you the truth. I don't rate movies and that should win awards and shit. I don't give a fuck. If I like it, I like it. If I don't, I don't. I knew it was something scary, whether it be murder, horror, ghosts and shit. Whatever. It was going to be scary. So my significant other isn't going to watch it. More than likely. 19 times out of 20. Well, she's gone, and I straight up told her, I said, I'm probably going to watch this movie because you're not here. But okay. And I did watch that today, and tell you the truth, more big name actors than I imagined in a movie like that. It's going to go in line with like your Strangers and kind of your what's the one where they have one day a year? They've made a couple of them. Purge. Not that filthy or grotesque in their killing and shit like that. Actually, I don't even think anybody got killed. Spoiler. I take that back. Anyway, a lot of big name actors that I actually recognized, which you don't get in a movie like that. And I can see why it won some awards. I don't disagree with winning whatever it won. And on top of all of that, the biggest thing was that Jordan Peele? Because there's Key and Peele. They do comedy, and they at least at one point had a sketch show kind of a thing. And this is the Peele guy of Key and Peele. And I can picture both of them. Don't know which is which. But I know what they look like. This guy's not in the movie, but he wrote, produced, he did a tremendous amount of shit with it. And this is so far beyond anything I would say anybody's ever seen him do, which was really cool.
Because when I seen it, I thought it was going to be one of the like scary movie parody. When it first started coming, I was like, that shit's so retarded.
Because it was from him.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I've ruined the movie for myself, partially. I forget shit like crazy. Like, I forget stuff all the time. I watched an interview with him where he told people whether they were correct or not on their, what they had drawn about the movie. Like, they thought this person was that brother, or that guy's brother's cousin from first removed. Like, subplots in it.
Mm.
And there are a ton of them. If you're one of those people that like to go back and rewatch it after knowing that this person is that person or related to whatever. So I watched that and I was like, man, that actually seems kind of fucking interesting. It's a lot different movie than what I had originally thought it was.
Yeah, and me being me, I looked up nothing. I read nothing. I just heard that it won some awards and it's a suspense horror. You can't even call it, now that I've watched it, it's not a horror. It's suspenseful thriller. Like there's probably 3 times with camera work and the soundtrack that they go boom and you kind of go fucking shit, man. Like you just jump a little. But nothing really super scary, and I didn't read anything into it like that.
Like you don't pee your pants, but there's a wet spot.
If you have to pee, you're going to dribble a little bit. If you don't, you're fine. It's nothing, I'm not going to have a nightmare about it. It's not that bad. It was a really good movie. I had no expectations going into it, which is, if you can keep from it, the best way to do anything. Yeah. I enjoyed it. I will watch it again because I'm going to try to get my girlfriend to watch it.
Not going to happen.
Well, she had some friends and family watch it and say, you will be fine, because they all know that she can't watch that kind of shit. And this is honestly, this is not like and I'm thinking I'm saying it right, Strangers, where they creeped in on the house and... Is Tamara here? I think that was the Strangers movie, where it was just super creepy and they wore the fucking clown mask or semi-clown mask. Nothing at all like that. It's all kind of a psychological, in your head, like, oh man, this is going to happen. And more than likely, you'll probably be right on what you're thinking with nothing going into it whatsoever. Still a really good movie and a really cool premise of at least the outcome that the bad people are trying to get, whether they get it or not. It's really cool. And to know it's from a hugely successful comedic writer and actor. Yeah. Really cool that he has, I mean, everybody has a dark side, but, whew, man, this is fucking weird. So then I played more Xbox. That was my day.
That's one thing that I could actually... spend a whole day doing, watch a movie that's okay, watch it, then go back and see all the well, this person was actually the father of, like the easiest one to, you know, compare it to would be The Sixth Sense. Like you watch it the first time and it's, well, what the fuck? And then rewatching, like, oh, well, that makes sense because blah blah.
Yeah, and you pick up on 7 different things that
but
you didn't notice.
There's a bunch of movies that are, it's not one big thing. It's 20 different things along the line. Like I think it's almost its own subgenre of movies. Like you have to go back and rewatch.
For sure, yeah. All the hidden
Shutter Island and
the little Easter eggs and hidden gems that you don't get the first run through. And it may take going out and reading some shit from different, even if it's just people.
There aren't a whole lot of them in Austin Powers, but I keep going back and rewatching it just to see if there is. See if I can figure out the deep dark secret, like the philosophy of it, to really dig down into it.
Right.
The philosophy behind Austin Powers, especially Goldmember. I mean, that's probably the king of the trilogy.
I mean, you've got Austin and Dr. Evil and Fat Bastard that are through the all the trilogy.
Dr. Evil. Not just evil.
And you know, Goldmember is only locked down to his one. But what I think is even more fun than trying to figure out where it comes from, for one thing, Mike Myers can really do that Scottish accent and a British accent. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's Canadian.
I believe so.
So he's already got he's got that affect and he's got the French built into him. But man, he can jump into that Scottish real hard, and it's awesome. What I think is fun is watching his earlier shit, and everybody knows Wayne's World and, you know, Wayne and Garth.
Yeah.
And that's fine. But if you get into the shit kind of like right when he was getting big on SNL, if you can find shit before or right directly after, So I Married an Axe Murderer.
I don't know that I've ever watched that.
Definitely well worth a view, probably more than once. I've watched it on television. I don't think I've ever watched the actual movie in whole on, you know, HBO or DVD or anything like that. I've watched it on television probably 5 times. You want to see where Fat Bastard came from? Because at least to me, that's where it started. And again, I'm not digging into Mike Myers because I'm that huge of a fan. I'm that huge of an Austin Powers fan. So anything Mike Myers does, I'm instantly going to be a fan of. Or I'm definitely going to check out. So he plays 2 characters, at least 2 characters in that movie. He plays the main character, who is basically just himself. And then he plays his own father, who, without looking like Fat Bastard, he just looks like a 65-year-old Scotsman who is blind and deaf and just yells and screams, but it is absolutely Fat Bastard 10 to 15 years before the first Austin Powers movie.
If there's Austin Powers 4, I want Fat Bastard to be skinny still, but with all the loose vagina neck and everything.
Yeah.
And be a bigger role in it.
Yeah. He had key point roles, but never anything like centered around him. So I understand what you're saying. They could definitely do a lot more with it. Regardless, if it does come out, I'm all over it and I'm owning it as soon as I can own it. I'm seeing it in theaters. You know, I'm doing the whole 9.
I would watch it in theaters probably 3 or 4 times if it's not absolute dog shit.
And there, in my opinion, there's no way it could be. For one thing, they've waited this long, so I've heard certain people and seen things online say it's a thing. It's never come about yet. So if there are kinks in it, they're worked out. And at least what I know of Mike Myers doing a couple of Wayne's Worlds and Saturday Night Live and movies here and there, he ain't gonna fuck it up. Like he's not gonna put out something bad and put his name on it just to get some cash or something like that. Like no, it's gonna be worth putting out if they do it. And that's kind of his, you know, and again, I have no authority on shit, but that's Austin Powers. Saturday Night Live and Wayne's World got him real hard going, and I know he was a, whether it be Second City or whatever that shit is, he was in one of them improv things before and was already making a decent living, just not national and internationally known. Saturday Night Live and Wayne's World kind of just kaboom. But he's that good. It should have happened. I agree with him becoming famous and having success putting out movies and shit. But really, if anybody says, especially today, under 30, 35, if you say Mike Myers, they're probably not going to say Halloween. And they're going to go, yeah, fucking Austin Powers. Sure.
Yeah.
And that's kind of his jam. And if he does it, I really hope it happens. And if it stops right now, I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm super happy, and I've watched all the movies 25 times, and I will watch all of them several more times.
Like, we've threatened for years now for all of us to gather up and watch 1, 2, and 3 in one setting and just get smashed, hammered, drunk, and eat horrible food and watch Austin Powers all day.
Pizza and Fritos. Buns.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely needs to happen.
Yeah.
Especially this time of year, it should definitely happen.
Yeah, this is the perfect time.
Yeah.
To do all that shit.
Exactly.
Like, just pin yourself in. I'm pretty sure it was similar-ish weather when we watched, not we, but me and a couple other people watched the first 2 Lord of the Rings back to back. Then literally stood up, got in a car, drove 40 minutes to Parkersburg, walked in, sat down in the theater, and watched the third one.
Jesus.
Talk about a long fucking day.
That's a day.
Holy shit. That was like 12 hours worth of just locked into something.
Yeah, that's a day. Wow.
So somebody brought up, well, kind of, another one of those, like, very, this guy, to me, is only funny when he's doing certain characters or bits. Like, he had a whole movie and it was okay. It's Dana Carvey. But back when he was doing Church Lady and some of those other, he did a lot of the presidents. Like, I think he did the first Bush.
First Bush, yes.
Like, he was solid. But then you watch some of his other stuff. He's, like, that stuff's really funny in bits. Like 5 minutes here or there. A whole movie of that gets a little painful. Turtle. Like, that was funny, but not an hour and a half funny. For me.
I watched the trailers and previews and whatever you want to call them for the international, whatever he was. It wasn't international, on Austin Powers.
Man of Disguise.
Man of Disguise, yes.
Something like that.
I watched the previews and I was like, fuck. Have never watched the movie.
Like,
sadly.
If that was a 20-minute even YouTube video, okay.
Make a little short out of it.
Hour and a half?
Get the fun things.
Hour and a half. No, you can sign me right out.
Yeah. And for anybody that doesn't know, Wayne's World, he's Garth. Holy shit. It's phenomenal.
There can be no other Garth.
And he based that off of his own brother, if you haven't heard.
Really?
I've heard a couple different interviews. Most recently, Howard Stern, like a year ago. Maybe a little more, because, again, jumping around, he's got a new-ish, within a year old, he's got a Netflix special, comedy, white and 60 plus male or some shit. I can't remember what he called it, but if you search Dana Carvey, you'll see it. And fuck me, it's hilarious. If you
really,
never, oh my god,
I don't think I've ever watched his stand-up. And I, like, you know, because I've recommended 18 different things to you, I can consume some stand-up comedy.
Right.
Hours and hours on end, especially if they're decent.
Right. Exactly. I don't disagree. It's and probably about the time I started getting into stand-up, which hasn't been all that long ago. Like, I've watched things here and there, but This came out like a year ago.
Yeah, like mainstream, like most people have seen Robin Williams live Broadway or whatever, but
Right.
to actually, a lot of people say, "Oh, I really like stand-up," and then you show them a real stand-up set, and they're like, "That wasn't that. I didn't know any of the catchphrases from that. I didn't hear 'get her done' once." No, because this is real. Like, this is real fucking. It's not just joke, 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 joke. So
nothing against joke.
No, that I mean that has its place, obviously.
Exactly.
But like, there are guys out there who will do bits that are 20 to 30 minutes long, and people don't realize once they start a 20-minute bit, if they lose the crowd, it's a lot. You just got to ride that fucking wave, no matter like how brutal it can be.
Yeah.
And there are dudes out there who have like a 20-minute bit, and they won't do it just because they don't want to go through that. Like, if you don't get them just right, because the only like stand-up comedy that most people see are just straight fucking killers.
Right.
Like absolute fucking killers that just, they don't have bad days.
Right.
And then the set that they see is at least a year, usually 2 or 3 years old, that they have polished. Like they've done that bit 6 times a weekend for the last 2 years. Most of them almost every weekend. They've done that same, just working it down, working it down, working it down. But then you go to a comedy show, and you're seeing somebody like put something together. Like if you go watch a comedy show, especially if they're not at the end of their tour, you're watching someone. Like if you watch someone try to sculpt something out of clay, halfway through you're like, is this like a sculpture of a dog turd on top of a larger dog turd? It doesn't have any features. It doesn't have any arms or a nose but then you give them another 20 minutes, you're like, oh fuck, okay, that's what that was. Now I see. And that's what when you're watching live stand up, that's what you're seeing, is them making it, not the finished product.
Right. And that's what I'm pretty excited about coming up here in the very near future. I've seen a couple of comedians, namely Jim Gaffigan. I had too much to drink and remember about half of it, so I have no clue where he was at in whatever special that he was working on. This was a few years ago. He was working up to something.
Yeah.
And didn't hate it, just I ate a half a pizza and drank a pitcher and a half of beer, and I made bad decisions. But coming up in the very near future, and again, not to beat a dead horse, but Tom Segura just had a special released. So he worked on that. He specifically said about like a year and a half is his max on this material, whittling down, shoot a special, record an album, wherever he's at in his career. Done. Material gone. All new shit. So he is in probably halfway mode of building another hour. So he's got 15, 20 minutes refined and funny as fuck, because all his other shit is.
Like, for the average person, here's how I would say it. And this is going to be released way after the Super Bowl, even though we haven't, like, that hasn't happened yet. But, so, what is it like right now? The Vikings and, no, the Eagles and the Patriots, maybe? Fuck, I don't know. It's down to...
In the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Eagles and Patriots.
Okay. It's down to the Eagles and Patriots.
One week from when this is actually happening, not when you'll hear this.
The Patriots will win somehow. That's just what they do.
That's exactly what they fucking do.
But anyhow, it would be like, for a stand-up comedian, if the Patriots win, then the next morning, the front office says, all right, everybody's fired. We're going to start from scratch, and we're going to win it again. Like that is, which is the Patriots, they could, but that's what a stand-up comedian, like, the next morning is just like, okay, all that stuff that just made me money and made me relevant and popular, and now we got to start all over. And it's got to be, like, it needs to be funnier than the last one. Because if you, like, people are like, oh my God, he's the funniest fucking guy in the world. And then they come out to see you 6 months into your 2 years worth of working it, or your 1 year worth of working. And they're like, well, he wasn't funny at all. So you gotta come out pretty fucking strong.
Yeah. And granted, I mean, they're all thinking. The successful ones are thinking ahead.
Yeah,
they're making plans
during that 2 years of doing their, like if something comes up in the last 2 weeks, they're not going to throw it into their. I'm guessing they wouldn't just throw it in. That stuff's going to be on the back burner.
Yes, not once they have their. If they can get an hour, they're scribbling down later,
Yeah.
and then they're just refining this cadence and change this word, change that word. How do I deliver this? Do I make this particular physical gesture? And they're not going to just tweak that in if they've already got an hour, because that's the cool thing that they've all kind of settled on. Like, it's really hard to keep people's attention past hour 15.
It's for stand up. They're in a different, they're in a different setting. People are coming there to sit down in the dark and watch a comedian.
Right.
But like as far as holding someone's attention, 10 to 15 seconds, you better have something good to say. Like that's with making YouTube videos. If you make a shitty one that starts out with just, okay, well, today, like I kind of want to, there's a thing that I've been doing, gone. Like you can watch it in the metrics that at 10 seconds, boom, there's a hard drop off. But, and it's just like with like you watch news or anything, they're like, after the break, there was a guy fucking a monkey's head that was severed and his wife was holding it, and we'll tell you more about that. You're like, what the fuck? Yeah. Those people are hooked.
Yeah.
And it's the same with anything. People have especially when you start talking in the last 5 years, the cell phones.
Yeah.
Like if you don't keep somebody's attention for 10 seconds, just their head drops.
Right.
And that's like teaching classes at the fire department or with EMS or whatever. If you bring out that big old $400 textbook that you had to buy and you start, okay, paragraph 1 and it's immediately all their heads drop and they're trying to hide their phone with their. It's a full time. Like you would think, say you went and taught a class for 3 hours, 4 hours. You think, oh, well, my throat's going to be sore. I'm going to lose my voice or what. That's not. It's just trying to keep people's attention for X amount of time. That's fucking brutal.
So even if your class is 20, 30, 40 years old, they still act like they're 13 with a cell phone in class?
Not yes, but fuck yes. And there is one neat thing that I would say has happened in the last 3 or 4 years. It used to be the old farts would sit, toward the front of the class or toward the front of the room, which is a big circle, and they would, hey, fucking kids with their goddamn cell phones that can't pay attention, they're fucking worthless. They need their ass beat. Their parents need their ass beat. Well, now that them crotchety old fuckers have finally figured out how to use an iPhone, they're the first ones. That like it's 5 minutes in, they're all, oh well, I better write this down before I forget. And then they get on there and, oh well, Lowe's is having a sale on fucking walkers or something, and then they just get distracted and they're gone.
Kohl's, Home Depot, and Lowe's.
Yeah,
that's kind of the jam.
You have to. And it's not I'm sure it's not the correct way to do it, but I just do something inflammatory or stupid or, well, that can't be right.
Right.
So just like.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Hey, stop. You don't know what you're doing right now.
Or embarrass them.
Yeah.
Or tell them they're going to die. Because I love whenever, because some of it is just history of like a fire service or a VM. I don't know why they think you need to know history to know how to do it. And I know that sounds ignorant, but I don't need to know that in 1960 whatever, some old dude invented CPR because his 7-year-old daughter died, which I think is the story. I don't need to know that hands over top of themselves, halfway in between the nipples, go, 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 go. Like in 1960, that doesn't fucking matter to me. But when we're doing a section like that, and every now and then there's a little part of, flashovers and backgrounds, and by then they're all just snoozed into their phone, and be like, and make sure you remember that, because that can, and obviously change octave and put a little inflection, because that can kill you, so make sure you don't forget, what were we, what were you talking about? It's like, yeah, you need to pay attention, and that only keeps them for another 30 seconds, and you got unless you give them something else or.
Right.
It's fucking painful. Like a lot of people say, oh well, you know, teachers. It's like a polarizing topic. Teachers and their salary or their this or that. Half the people think they should be paid $200,000. And the other half thinks, oh well, they've got it easy as they're off nights, weekends, holidays, all fucking summer. It's a polarizing thing. It doesn't matter where you're at on the spectrum. It's a different thing than what you think.
Yeah. So I'm glad you brought up the fire EMS. I think we got a too late.
We'll just roll another one here in a minute.
Not enough time.
I mean, we could do it. It's just going to be an hour and a half podcast. Well, I don't know how long it's going to be. Let's take a pause for the cause, and then we'll come back and just do a part 2 of this one, not another podcast.
Okay, because that's going to be. I feel that what's upcoming. Hang on to your seats, folks.
But it's not that crazy.
Dude.
It's
that fucking big of a deal. Just hang on, folks. Coming back in.
And it's not going to be as uplifting and exciting as you think it will be. You heard like 3 words. This is a hook. This is to keep people from getting out of the pause, even though the pause is going to last 2 seconds.
That's fine.
You heard 3 words of the story, and it's not totally different, but it's broadly very much more differenter than.
Perfectly fine.
Okay.
So we'll be back shortly.
Yeah, and I might give me an alcoholic beverage.
On the same podcast.
I don't know.
See, we'll figure it out.
We're not adults. I don't know if I need to hit the stop recording or hit the pause or.
I think just shut it down. Shut everything down completely and then restart it again. And if you can splice back up later.
Shut down. I'm kill live stream too. Drinks and smokes.